us at Army Institute of Management, Kolkata.
May I request our guest of honor, Mr. Sheikh Amin Khan, Mr. Nilesh Sinha of Procam Group, and our principal sir, Dr. Abhishek Kumar, to light the ceremonial lamp. May I request the other speakers of the day and moderator, Dr. P.K. Das, to kindly join in the lighting of the ceremonial lamp. May I request all dignitaries to take their seats. May I request all dignitaries to take their seats. Thank you. I would now request our principal sir to please come up on the stage and inaugurate the session with an address.
Good morning, everyone. I extend a heartfelt welcome to all the speakers, all the guests, dignitaries, students, and members from the industry. I welcome you to this global confluence on supply chain management, organized jointly by Procam Centre of Excellence and SANCHALAN, our operations club of the institution. Uh, this is the third edition of this event, and I must extend my thanks to Procam Group for not only supporting this event, but creating, perhaps this is we are on the road to create an ecosystem where body of research output gets created, which helps the industry. The industry, supply chain industry, logistics industry, operations industry, and so on. So I think it represents uh, an effort, a joint effort between industry and academia, where they try to make a meaningful change in helping the industry. So this is a small effort where speakers and industry experts from various fields, they come and enlighten us, enlighten the students. Some of them will go on to make their career in this industry. So I welcome everyone. I also wanted to make a small intervention in this field of operations and supply chain. I was thinking that, see, digital transformation is happening everywhere, and it is also happening in this field of supply chain industry. Uh, you know, uh, when we think of digital transformation, we are actually talking about automation. And automation means perhaps it is similar to being a person who is watching everything unfolding automatically. Uh, it's like seeing without being seen. So you are a spectator and you are observing that things are happening on its own because of technology. So I feel that something like that is being attempted in all fields of life, and logistics and supply chain is no exception. I also feel that robotics, because it begins with robotics and perhaps it also ends with robotics. So robotics, the fantasy of robotics is that there is a robot which is made in the image of man, and that robot does everything for us, and it has all the qualities because it is made in the image of man. It has all the qualities of a man except that of sexuality. Now, uh, because it is at the disposal of human being or disposal of man, what happens is it is treated like a slave. Now, because of AI, because of machine learning, because of various other developments that are happening in this field, the automation or the robotics industry is not completely determined. It is becoming like an open system, which means that it is open to learning. It can make its own decision. It responds to the system, and I think that is what digital transformation is about. It is not overly or completely deterministic. It is something that is open to responding to the system. And I think that is what everyone is trying to attempt. I also want to make this point that perhaps we have moved forward from that stage where we were trying to create a robot in the name of or in the image of man. Now, what we are trying to create is an image of human consciousness. So, this whole AI thing and this whole network of whether it is connected devices and so on. So, what we are trying to create is, or what we are trying to project perhaps, is human consciousness onto the systems, onto the processes, human tendency to control, human tendency to will to power. So these are the issues that I think must be thought about, and not just the discussion should remain at the level of practical challenges uh, uh, that are being faced by systems and governments and other stakeholders. So I think it is important that how it affects human beings, and when we are doing or effecting a digital transformation of systems of industries, what does it say about us? That is also an area that I think we must think about and explore. I am sure we are going to do all this in this whole day today. And I welcome all of you, and I look forward to an engaging and enthralling discussion on topics related to this area. Thank you very much. I welcome you once again.
Thank you so much, sir. Sanchalan is the event of operations specialization of the Army Institute of Management, Kolkata. Since 2022, Sanchalan has been organizing academic events to disseminate knowledge related to operations management. I would now request Mr. Pratik Basu sir, who is the chairperson of the Operations Management and director of the Procam Centre of Excellence at the Army Institute of Management. Sir, please come up on the stage and present the welcome address.
Good morning. Good morning. A hearty welcome to this global confluence on logistics and supply chain management And as our principal sir has already said, we are having the third edition of this event in Army Institute of Management. This year, it is being organized by the Procam Centre of Excellence for Logistics and Supply Chain Management at Army Institute at AIMK. Now, to brief about it, our Army Institute of Management, it is one of the leading management schools in India and was established in 1997 by the Army Welfare Education Society, West New Delhi. The institute is affiliated to Macau, which is earlier known as WBUT. Its 2-year program is approved by AICT, that is All India Council for Technical Education, and in 2015, AIMK was the first institute under ours to be accredited by NAC, that is the National Assessment and Accreditation Council. Our old campus was in Alipur within the premises of the Command Hospital. Let's have a few glimpses of the old campus which we had and a few events which took place in our old campus. We shifted to the new campus in 2021 and now AIMK boasts of having the state-of-the-art infrastructural facilities. The institute takes pride in its accomplished faculty team comprising exceptionally talented and experienced members dedicated to academic excellence. We have our principal sir, Dr. Abhishek Kumar. We have Dr. Malini Mujumdar as our academic coordinators. In the marketing team, we have Dr. Awan Chattopadhyay. We have Professor Abhishek Bhattacharya. In the HR, we have Mr. Ovilas Acharya. Professor Anindra Saha is the head of IT and looks after MIS and also business analytics. We have Osmita Basu, our faculty in finance. We have Devalina Chatterjee, our faculty in economics. And of course, we have Prosenjit Kundu, who looks after business analytics. Last but not the least, we have the most important person, that is, we have Kamujit Ghoshrai, who looks after all our placement activities. Well, the Sanchalan team of AIMK, as you all know, it is of the students, by the students, and for the students. We have our coordinators, Rohan and Sushmita, and the other team members, Anamika, Ananya, Ankit, Annesha, Aparna, Auditro, Orpita, Devorshi, Dhiman, Mohit, Pooja, Rohit, Shayan, Hasina, Sheila, Somodeep, Saurabh Ghosh, Saurabh Oja, and Sumit Anand. Last year, the then director of AIMK, Major General V.S. Anade, and Mr. Nilesh Kumar Sinha, Director of Procam Logistics Private Limited, signed a memorandum of understanding to work on various research projects which will contribute towards developing scientific perspectives of supply chain practices. Such industry-institute collaboration enriches the discipline of management and will be of immense benefit to the students at large. We, of course, in AIMK have a very strong and experienced business analytics team composed of Dr. Awan Chattopadhyay, Dr. Prosenjit Kundu, and Professor Anindra Saha, and they are working together with Procam in several research projects along with a few of our management students too. The details will, of course, be provided to you by Mr. Nilesh Sinha in his speech. May I now request our knowledge partner and co-host, Mr. Nilesh Sinha, to kindly come up on stage to deliver the keynote address and also say a few words on the Procam Centre of Excellence. Mr. Sinha is Director, Procam Logistics Private Limited and Honorary Secretary of Hydraulic Trailer Owners Association. He is a seasoned project and heavy lift professional with a wide domain expertise spanning over 25 years and has handled several domestic and global projects across all industry verticals and infrastructure projects. He is actively spearheading various initiatives and concerns of hydraulic trailer operators with the regulatory bodies and has been instrumental in major policy changes in the transportation of heavy equipment in India. In the last 14 years of the Procam Group, the group diversified into project freight forwarding, warehousing, and installation verticals. Mr. Nilesh Sinha had led the acquisition of an IT company to develop customized software for project cargo management, joint venture with a leading automotive company, and has handled more than 5,000 metro cars in India. On the academic front, Mr. Nilesh Sinha has a master's in management from IPM and IIM Ahmedabad Statistics Honours from BHU, Chartered Member of ICS London, CISB Delhi, Editor of Heavy Hauler, India's first heavy lift journal, and is certified in blockchain and Oracle. He also runs the Procam Foundation to create awareness of stem cell donation by conducting various CSR activities for the girl child education and cancer patients in India. Mr. Nilesh Sinha, please.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Professor Basu, for such a very loaded introduction. I'm just a practitioner. I've been studying shipping and logistics for the last 25 years, and I continue to do so. At the outset, I'd like to first of all, thank the Army Institute of Management for creating and giving an opportunity for the industry and academia interaction. We have been discussing a lot in various of our conferences about the issues we generally faces in this segment. And, we have always realized that there is still a lot of skill gap. So this is the one small step of a Procam group to ensure that how this skill gap can be minimized and the interest in the supply chain domain can be created in the early stage. So I welcome Shri Sheikh Amin Khanji to be and accept our invitation to grace his presence. Professor Dr. Ravi Das, he has always been with us. Last year also he has coordinated the conversation, and he is a very eminent and respected academician, including Dr. Sinha and Dr. Dipankar Sinha. One of my very senior colleague happens to be his student also. So I'm glad to see that the professor and the students are together here. Mr. Srinivas, he is the director of warehousing business. A very young and very talented Mr. Ritik Datta from VG Somada Group. Currently, I have got a very old association with the family also. We have worked many projects with his father in past. Mr. Jaidev Sen Gupta ji, he is from Kolkata Dock System, and he has also been very instrumental of a lot of activities related to the port activities. And Mr. Partha Bhattacharya ji, thank you sir for accepting and joining this session. So we have two ways to discuss here, and just to give you the basic brief of what we have been doing it in terms of Army Institute of Management and what exactly is the approach we have been taking it for. So before I come to this particular point, I wish to take you through that in past what is that we have done under the Army Institute of Management Center of Excellence. We have got a 7 key objectives, and before I go into the objective part of it, I just wanted to check in terms of we have got the new batches also this year. How many of you are having operation background? You have studied statistics or some engineering background? Can you just raise your hand? And just to give it an idea that How many of you have an engineering background, statistics background, or production background? All right, so I can see a very few hands. Then it becomes the more responsibility of all of us together here to make all of you aware and understand that why this is important and why a session like this. So we have got a 7 key core objectives to conduct activities regarding the training, consulting, and research, develop a scientific perspective in supply chain, improve collaborations for logistic research, create a robust knowledge base, disseminate best practices in supply chain, give impetus to collaborations, and develop a common knowledge sharing. So I'll not get into the big jargon of this, is that what exactly it means here, but how we are doing it under Procam Centre of Excellence is that we have prepared a basic KPI for this, and we are in last 1 year have made the charter plan for this. Is that how we are going to take it? In last 1 year, we have done a couple of projects, and those projects are primarily related to the developing the best practices in the supply chain. Now, along with Professor Ayan and Professor Tamujit Ghosh, Professor Basu, we have developed one working model. Now, these models are primarily to connect what you study in your school, college, and then how this is getting applied to the practical uses in supply chain, which of course I'll cover into this part of the presentation. But what we have taken it up is that we have working on one ESG project. We are working on one developing a predictive model for forecasting the availability of a vehicle once it's get unloaded or it's get empty. We have worked onto the applications, and especially the application of a regression analysis in terms of identifying or tracking the movement of our vehicles. And we have also worked on the digital marketing to get the perspective of how the marketing skill can also be get employed here in the supply chain practice. So there are a lot of events happen during the year, and one of the major events which happened is the visit of a student to the Kolkata Port Trust to get the physical idea of that how exactly the port looks like. So what you study in your school books or college books, and then when you actually see this, you get the little perspective of that. So that's what the objective as a center of excellence we are trying to do. Now, in this coming years, we have developed complete roadmap for this year, where we have defined under these 7 objectives what are the actions we are going to take, what are the responsibilities, and who are the responsible for this. Quarter-wise planning, the resources, how the resources is going to come up, and then of course the KPI metrics. So soon we will be starting it up, publishing a couple of reports. We'll be interacting with major stakeholders. We'll be conducting a couple of webinars, and we'll be engaging more with the industry. The students of this batch is going to get a much more exposure in terms of the supply chain practices. So, what is that you are looking up at the end of the day here once all the session is over? So, I request that try to learn as much as possible. Let's discuss, let's collaborate, let's share your and see that how your perceptions about the supply chain, the opportunity, the career guidelines can be explored, at the end of this. So feel free to ask questions. We have got expert from all the major key components area of supply chain here, and anyone who is having an interest, on the port, how the port works, how the custom works, how the interlinking of academics and the industry works, and how the customs compliances. So with this, I'll come to the the main agenda or the main work for this, and for all the activities so far we have done in the Center of Excellence. Also, thank to the Army Institute, uh, Colonel Verma, for giving us now a dedicated space here where the students can come, sit, interact, discuss, and we'll be having a lot of more activity here which will give you the perspective of how this industry works. So, to start with here, the subject which we are driving it this day on this season of the global conference is driving sustainability through digital transformation in modern supply chain. Now we have got very heavy loaded words here: sustainability, digital supply chain. So since you all are at this stage where you probably have completed your graduations, some of them have a 2, 3 experiences, and then come up to doing your master's. So we will discuss this whole in a way that you are able to actually link up as that what exactly you have been studying, and you know how this industry is unfolding for you. So what we are going to discuss it here now. We'll be discussing it about the sustainable supply chain. Now, what is sustainable? So, what is that we want to achieve when we say sustainability? Modern supply chain problems is that what is the problem we are trying to solve? How does the global challenges looks like and how we are navigating the challenges for sustainable supply chain? Adaptation of technology in global supply chain, like what kind of a technology is being used, the Indian government role in promoting the sustainability, because that's something is the macro environment you work. So you must also know that you know how the government is working on that. And where does the future of a sustained supply chain is going? So how is that is looking up after 5 years, 10 years? So this is the broad contour, and most of the discussions during the day probably will happen around this broader idea of it. So whenever we talk about the sustainability, there are three things which we always do. And then this is something is to make it very simple as such. We are talking about people, we're talking about profits, and now we are talking about planet. So when we talk about sustainability, we try to see this is that how your profitability, how your people is also accountable for the planet. And when you make an intersection of these three, the central part of this is actually the resiliency which you are going to create by preparing the business model which can account the planet also into your business model. So in this, if you see, is that with the people, a social responsibility comes in place, and with the profit, the economic viability comes in. So you cannot pursue the sustainability for the sake of sustainability by cutting your pockets. So somewhere, as a young mind, you need to explore is that what kind of profitability or the business model needs to be made, which can take care of the planet. So this is what is the globally people are discussing. This is how the most of these startups are coming in, and this is where from the exploitation of a planet to the preservation of this transition is moving. So when we are getting into a transition like this, the entire business model also going to get affected with this. So as a student, it is very important that whenever you plans to make any business model or a startup or anywhere you intend to work, evaluate the objective and purpose of that organization under these three parameters to get a basic measurement of is that whether the company is actually pursuing towards the sustainability. The parameter and the level can go up and down, but then this will largely give you the idea of it. So without making it much complicated, if you address a problem like this way, probably you will be able to get the idea. Now going back to your colleges and schools, what is that you are trying to solve? What problem is that we are trying to solve, and what is that the formulas the teachers are teaching? So is there any combination or connections with whatever being taught to us and the problem we are solving? Are we ready? Or this is the propriety of the expert 20 years, 30-year professionals who will come and give our lectures like this, which I am doing it here. So can you as a student participate into this conversation? So of course you can participate in this conversation. How you can do? So So how you are able to participate? So these are the basic key problems which we are trying to solve. So I've just compiled a couple of problems, which is demand forecasting. This is something you must have been studying in your production management areas: inventory management, transportation optimization, supplier risk management, production planning, capacity utilization, lead time reduction, quality control, warehouse management, return and refund management. This is something is that as an e-commerce, which something is that you are the generation of tomatoes and Swiggies. So you will be able to relate yourself with this, where how these companies are operating, and is that these companies are doing something which you are also reading it. So the answer is yes. So if your teacher is teaching you time series analysis or a moving averages or exponential smoothing or EOQ concept or ABC analysis or linear programming or a distart algorithm or a grid algorithm, what we said, uh, the FMEA model of just in time or MRP, TOC, theory of constraints. If you guys are reading this, or if you're not reading it, start reading this, because this is something is going to help you in the coming days. Then in the statistics, statistical process control, Six Sigma, Pareto. This is something is already in the part of the curriculum. Only thing what is need to be understand that how you are linking this and using this to solve the problems. So I'll take it up to some of the examples is that how the global companies are solving this, and what are the global challenges and opportunities people are having it in this particular sector. So during the Corona time, the supply chain words become very common to the general household. Even my kids started understanding is that what is that I'm doing it, when they started seeing is that without they moving out from the home, how the materials and things have started coming to the home. So you are placing an order, things are coming to your home. So someone is doing something. So, like Mr. Abhishek was talking, is that when we are getting into the mode of automation, we believe to sit and things start coming towards us. But then there is a full network which is working behind. And the word like resilience has come and been coined and tossed very much during the corona. But then this is not something that this has come onto that particular time. There was an article in 2016 to 2014 by Professor David Sinchili. He is an MIT professor. I happens to be a student also. And he has written a book that when a situation like this comes or a pandemic like this comes, how you are designing your supply chain mechanism so that it can respond to. So responsiveness, resilience is the word which has become very common and come in the center of your supply chain. So the opportunity which comes in the parameter of a people, planet, and profit, the resilience becomes the basic underline for making the business model or any operational model. So the opportunity what you get is in designing the complex supply chain network, optimizing the resource scarcity, opportunity in innovations, and the market demand for sustainable. So these are the broad opportunity which we are going to see this. Now, those who are very much like in surfing internets or finding interested to know a lot of jargons into the business, how this technology is actually leveraging or getting adopted into supply chain. So when you have an opportunity like this, what is that the technology is doing it? So you have now is the implementation of an AI. So like some of the examples where for the route optimization, the AI modeling is being done. For the digitization of a warehousing processes, there is a lot of IoT sensors that are getting. So I'm using certain technology name. I'm using the application part of it, and I'll quickly get you through to give you some examples so that you can relate with this. And then the blockchain application. So blockchain, when you study the blockchain and when you see the blockchain is getting applied It's a two different way how it works. And you need not to be a software expert or you need not to be someone who need to know the technology. So how the blockchain is coming up into the supply chain domain, and then how the famous electric vehicle, the automated vehicles, the driverless vehicle is coming into the supply chain networks where sustainability is keeping into this. And the last but not very least is that how are we leveraging the data? What is that the tool we are utilizing? Is this data is telling something? We say it, every data tells story. What story you want to listen? So, it is very, very important that the perspective you have in terms of looking it out is that how you are going to interpret, how you are going to work with the data. Now, when we talk about onto this, again, I'll go back to the problem we are solving and then what technology are being used to solve the problem and how globally company are using. So, for example, we discuss about the demand forecasting. Here we are using the time series analysis. Now, this time series analysis, the technology in the backend is used as the AI and ML algorithms. So here you put lot of data at one place. You create a data pattern over the years and years and years, and then you start making the machine capable to understand the pattern of the data. For this also, again, as a student, you need not to be a software expert. You need to understand is that what problem you are solving. So the problem, what is the business problem? The business problem is that let's say that you started a company and you wanted to know that throughout the year how the demand is going to be for a mobile phone. So what do you do to forecast this? So you need a lot of data. You need to see the buying patterns. You need to see that, based on to the data which is accumulated over the cloud, how am I getting and rating it to fit it to my buying? And that's where you built up a model which will help you to forecast on month. And when you study a supply chain in more detail, there is a bullwhip effect which we study during the time of technology when it was not intervening much. We used to have a lot of challenge. The HLM problem is the very famous, or salesman issues is a very famous problems which a lot of people have trying to solve this. And going forward under Procam supply chain, Procam Centre of Excellence, we will someday play the PL game, and you will understand that how you can learn the supply chain's basic concept through those games also. So when the demand forecasting part comes up, there is a technology on the back end which is working and helping for you. When the inventory management part comes, like Amazon is of course using it, this Flipkart is using it here, and most of the companies who are into the retail space are using this. The car automotive companies are using this, and everyone is analyzing them. Everyone is understanding your behavior, your online patterns. Route optimization software. Now, this is something is that how your vehicle should do. So, like when you are placing an order for your food, and 20 people have placed an order for the food from KFC here, the person who is delivering it gets a plan that which one he will deliver in the route so that he can optimize the consumption of the fuel. So that's where the profitability and the planet part comes into the business model. So, what is important here is that I'll share the copy of the presentation for the students. This is something is will require a full day session in terms of applying the technology, who all are doing it, how they are doing it. But this is to give you a fair idea that when we talk about sustainability, it is very, very important that we see that how people are doing it, what people are doing it, and what is that you can contribute. Uh, If you want to study the supply chain and certain business models, go and study the Jara business model. Go and study the IKEA business model. Their business model on the core is a supply chain. Walmart business model. Their core is supply chain. They are not selling product. They are not optimizing things in terms of what price and how price is getting derived. They are putting their all time energies in terms of saying that how it can be made available when you need, and therefore the entire focus goes onto how the supply chain basically come into the system. Now, some interesting words, some quick, examples of this. Through the technology, what we are using it up, we are analyzing the real-time monitoring. So if you are going to any cold chain, there the temperature is controlled. You are somewhere sitting at the remote offices, and those sensors is going to let you know is that what is happening and what kind of temperatures are being maintained throughout. So these are the ways in which the leakages on the cold chains can be reduced. And it has got a very huge commercial ramification. Likewise, you have route optimization. Just we discussed about the food delivery system. The blockchain one, and this is something is that I would request whenever you get a time, try to work it out and try to understand that how golds and diamonds are getting sold now in the world. So when you understand the complete value chain of a diamond distribution or the gold distributions globally, you have a certain mark coming, especially globally. The gold, the diamond is already being put onto the blockchain, and you can go and check the footprint from the mines from where the stone has come. So going forward in supply chain, the bill of lading is something is now getting tagged to the blockchain technology. Some experiments have already started it. Some companies have already started doing it. Someone have started making the private blockchains groups also. We have been working in one of the blockchain projects where we try to develop for a company that how a blockchain model can be also prepared for delivering the supply chain sustainability. The preventive maintenance. This is a very, very interesting applications of the technology where before your car gets break down, you get an alert that your car maybe have a the proper pressure is not there into your tires, or it will tell you that it's enough now. You take it to the doctors. You have to go and check your cars done. Volvo is very pioneer into this, and they have got a complete control system where they are monitoring the maintenance and how you are driving. So this is the technology is actually helping in the preventive maintenance, predictive maintenance, and it also gives the driving behavior, which ultimately helps you to optimize your profit and to see that the fossil fuels application and usage is not as much out of the limit of the machine what you have. Collaborative supplier. This is where the large supply chain organizations or garment companies utilizing these technology to source all the component which goes into it. So these are certain idea to give you a sense is that how this system of resiliency work, how the technology play, and what kind of a systems can be developed and already being developed by the rest of the world. The data-driven performance, this is very, very common now in every areas, including the decision-making part. The government is also working onto this globally, and especially the Indian government also gets into this. The demand planning, we can use this. The robotics, Professor Abhishek was talking, the application of robotics and AI in warehousing is also increasing. And these are the future technology. You have got the 3D printing supply chains. Some display issues here on the screen, but it says there 3D printing in supply chains. Now, this is also very interesting. I'll just take a few seconds on this. Is that now that the companies are managing the spare part problems through the 3D printing. So earlier, if any particular component or a critical component is not available at the time of executions, it has to wait for its own lead time. So now people are getting into the 3D printing where they are able to get the spare there then whenever it is required. A lot of organizations have started monitoring their system. We have put the IoT devices into our vehicles to see this is that how it is getting monitored. The automations vehicle is also is something which is taking shape in India now. We are on the first stage of a autonomous vehicle where first stage is with driver with certain support and the software, which takes to when you go to the fourth stage, there is no driver. So there's a journey which is happening in where the technology is intervening in, and to see this is that how you can make it a safe drive. Now, what is that the government of India is? So government of India recently came up with the Indian logistics policy. The policy is primarily the core of the policy is the digitalization. So government is making a different layers of data systems. Government is connecting the all stakeholders at one platform under Digital India. The ports, the customs, the service providers, all are getting connected. They have made a lot of groups where associations or the trade bodies are interacting with the governments for the process improvement. Customs has a fantastic system where they are taking the inputs from the stakeholders. The board is having a system where they're getting the stakeholders' opinion and then they are responding. So this communication has become two-way. So this digital presence is actually giving a lot of transparencies in terms of working on this sustainability. So they have made a ULIP, which is a Unified Logistics Integrated Platform, and in this you get the complete visibility. So the technology layers are there. You as a student needs to think of is that going forward, if you need to build up any business model on top of the data which is already available, what is that the idea? What is it the problem you are solving? And keep in mind that going forward, you are getting funded only when you have sustainability into your business model. So therefore, it is very, very important is that how you look at it. Apart from that, look at how the ecosystems are getting created. The ecosystem is a general use that what you and I are using at the home. The smart city missions and NEMMP. This is the National Electric Mobility Mission Plan. So this is the ecosystem which is getting created around. Now, where does it lead to and how India is doing onto this? What India has done in terms of achieving this sustainability is that it has increased the use of renewable. So there is a lot of investment which is happening on this. On the packaging side, a lot of work is happening and there is still a lot of opportunity. Is that how we can make it eco-friendly? Then efficient waste management. This is something you must be seeing it now that every cities are being ranked on the basis of cleanliness and how they are managing their waste. The local collaborations with the communities, and there is a lot of investment which is coming in on the sustainable technology. So, this is where the focus of the government also is changing, and therefore, those who want to participate into the future opportunity, this is the time when we should start thinking about it. Is that how we should plan our business? The last one is that where does it lead to? What is the future we are seeing? Future we are seeing it into primarily of four areas. Integration of IoT. What Professor Abhishek has started with, that we are getting into the future where the robotics has to play a lot. Your house will become smart. Your vehicle will become smart. So everything around you will smart. It's up to you that when you will become smart, because it is very important is that to manage all these smart things around you, you need to be a little stay ahead. So this is where things are moving. Blockchain technology will come for the transparency. So all kind of frauds or the people who are manipulating things, making the diluted business models. Blockchain is going to help in terms of putting it up and tracing it, the history or the transactions which are taken from the origin to the consumption. Renewable energy adaptation. India is moving towards the net zero, and the globally also the UN has a charter for this. G20 has a charter for this, and you as a stakeholder also needs to understand this. Is that this is where the future is going. And the most important is that globally the policies are already being made onto the sustainability as a key area. So to summing up, anything and everything, whenever we talk about the sustainability points, it's the people, it's the price, and the planet. So thank you very much, gentlemen, for the patient hearing. In case you have any questions, you can shoot it now, or maybe available. We can always discuss. And we have a series of experts available. This is just to give, just 2-3% of how the days would be. And I'm sure that you will have a very interesting conversation during the day. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Actually, you wanted to do that? They have been already done that. So Professor Basu is asking me to show some slides onto the Procam Centre of Excellence. So I will just go quickly. The objective which we have already discussed. This is what the key objectives of the Centre of Excellence, where we are doing it various activities regarding the training, developing the scientific perspective. This is, I think, I already give a quick background before the starting of the session. This is the timeline for the last year. That this is what we have done in the last year, and we are really looking it out. That this year, with the kind of an interest we are seeing it, that we feel that we will be able to do it more here. And these are here we have some interactions where the students have visited the board. We have happened to or become the students of Professor Ryan, who was bringing the various tools into the applications. We were developing it one predictive model. So this is the workshop of that, and there is regular interaction which the students, the professors, and is interacting with the industry experts as such. This is the roadmap which I was talking it. This is also getting published, and this is the charter which we are going to follow this year. So in this, we'll be conducting the more research. We'll be conducting and interacting and visiting a lot of places. We'll be conducting the webinars also. We will be having regular interactions and the industry expert visit to the institute here, and we will also try to publish a certain report which can be helpful, especially for the students into this segment. Today agenda is already circulated to everyone. We have now a session going to happen after this, and panel discussions, and we have an esteemed guest who have already reached here. And then this is what we are expecting at the end of the day, that you learn, collaborate, share, improve your knowledge in this space. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Sinha, for such a exciting speech. And also thank you for introducing the Procam Center of Excellence. Now let's get back to our session today. As you all know, we know the theme of the session, that is driving sustainability through digital transformation in modern supply chains. We shall be having the panel discussion, but before that, we shall be inviting the speakers one by one to share a few words, around 5 to 10 minutes, on the theme of the topic, and then we shall continue with the panel discussion. Of course, after the panel discussion, we shall be inaugurating the Procam Center of Excellence on the ground floor, and we shall also continue to have the poster presentations, and we are having quite a few poster presentations this year. In the afternoon session, we have again 3 interesting presentations for students, for all the guests. We shall be continuing with that. So over to Pooja to continue with the session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So, in the morning session, we request each of our distinguished guests to say a few words. Then we shall have a panel discussion followed by the question and answer session. The audience is requested to have their questions ready after the panel discussion of the distinguished speakers. We respectfully request our speakers to conclude their speeches within the time frame of 10 to 15 minutes. This will assist us to adhering the program schedule. Thank you.
Please welcome our guest of honor, Mr. Sheikh Amin Khan, Additional Commissioner of Customs, Preventive Commissionerate, West Bengal. He is an officer of the Indian Revenue Service of the 2011 batch. Mr. Khan graduated as an aeronautical engineer from Gujarat University and later pursued law from Calcutta University. Currently, he is monitoring the customs formations across the international land and riverine borders with Bangladesh, Bhutan, China, and Nepal, aligning with the state of Sikkim and West Bengal. Apart from the enforcement, Mr. Khan has built upon the SOPs and practices, simplifying the procedures, addressing the concerns to modulate the balance between enforcement and facilitation. Thank you, sir. Share some words.
Good morning to one and all. My name is Mr. Abhishek and Army Institute of Management for inviting me here. It's indeed a privilege and pleasure to be here amidst you. On a Saturday. Saturday cannot be utilized in much better manner than this. Also to from the Procam. So kind of the first session itself. I don't know how many of you are still awake after that first session because it was such a heavy dose that almost everything got covered in the first session only. What this topic speaks about. So how many of you actually relate to this topic? Because I am more curious to understand from custom side. One thing which I would like to offer to AIM is that kindly select any port, major port of your choice in Calcutta Custom Zone, and I will like to host you to actually see the customs procedures by yourself, so that you will understand that what happens in the supply chain logistics. Sustainability is something which we have always been talking about these days. In the larger umbrella of sustainability, where we are actually trying to kind of cope up with our domestic demands also, as well as the international competitions, I think, as it's been very well summarized, that we also have to take our geostrategic interest also into consideration. When we take interventions of the digital space, what is being spoken about, I think every one of you here would have recently, maybe about a day or two old, would have placed some order on Swiggy, Amazon, or Zomato, or maybe Blinkit. Do you think that you're satisfied with that right now, or do you really feel that there is still some scope? Where, say, for example, if on Swiggy I am ordering a pizza, I am able to see that it will be delivered in some space and some time. I can track that concerned person who is coming with my pizza. But can I actually see the temperature of that pizza? As of now, I am not able to, but in future I will like to. So technology is something which is kind of ever progressing, and we are trying to cope up and kind of catch up on that technology. So recently, I think everyone will be aware about the fact that Apple has launched something called Apple Tag. How many of you are aware about Apple Tag? So that itself speaks about the fact that how much we are trying to gather information, how much industry is able to gather information, how much data we are collecting, and how we are utilizing that data. Imagine some years back when children used to go to school, we were, as a parents, we were concerned कि लड़का कहाँ पर जा रहा है, मतलब मेरा बच्चा स्कूल पहुंचा है कि नहीं पहुंचा है. With this Apple Tag, you resolve that issue also. So complete logistics chain, not only from the perspective of warehousing and the larger sphere of movement of the cargo, till the smallest movement of the baggage, if you consider that at the airport or terminal, is also getting revolutionized by this technology. People want to know where exactly are my goods and how these goods are. So intervention of this digital space is giving more of responsibility and accountability of the stakeholders, as rather increasing the responsibility and accountability of the stakeholders. From custom side, we have readily accepted RFID devices. We have readily accepted faceless mechanisms where we can bring in all the positive disruptions to catch up with the requirement and the demand of the trade. So over a span of this panel discussion, we will definitely take your questions and suggestions and possibly queries, whatever they are, to kind of understand that what you as young blood of this institute are having expectations from the government bodies. So we look forward for that discussion. And I can tell with conviction that the kind of panel which we have is an amazing pool of experience in this space. So any question you shoot, either they will be or we will be updated, or possibly we'll be able to respond to you in the best possible manner. Thank you again for giving me an opportunity of being here amidst you, and I look forward for the day as it turns out to be. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now let us welcome Dr. Dipankar Sinha, who is the professor and head of research at Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, Kolkata. He earned his PhD from IIT Kharagpur and has around 33 years of experience in fields of teaching, MDP, research projects, consultancy, planning, and information technology. He has also published 2 books on supply chain management and information technology, along with numerous journals and conference papers. Dr. Sinha has also received many awards, including the Best Professor Award 2021 in Logistics, IEOM, Michigan, USA. Sir, I request you to come up on the stage and say a few words.
Is it here? Yeah. Is it, is it- At the outset, I would like to thank the Army Institute of Management, Principal Professor Abhishek Kumar, Professor Pradeep Basu, and the student coordinator Sheikh Hasina for coordinating this event and making it a comfortable welcome to this particular forum. As I get to know that industry and academia are the ones who should come together to resolve any problem. As even a theoretical physicist like Richard Feynman had said that no theory is good unless we can experiment on it and prove it. So whatever we look into our curriculum, whatever we deliver in the class, they should all get translated in the work field. And that is what is important in today's day-to-day work. Now coming to the point that what I was going through this topic of sustainability, digitalization, supply chain, and so on. What came to my mind is there are a lot of developments that are taking place in silos. Everyone is working in their areas of specialization. Someone working towards improvement fuel efficiency, someone working towards efficiency product, improve productivity, someone is working towards smart governance, someone is working towards secured movement of information, someone is working towards the overall uh, reducing the carbon footprint or water footprint or energy consumption. Now these silos need integration. And in the process, there is a concept that has been coming up over the years. And the concept is called physical internet. Whatever we see as internet or know about internet is the digital internet, wherein we only exchange information. And the concept of this digital internet has now getting extended to supply chain and logistics and is termed as the physical internet. The basic concept of a physical internet is about developing the protocols which will ensure that the wastages are minimum, which will ensure that the response time is the best without any delays, which will ensure that the condition of the goods, materials are in the right manner. That means it will ensure the 5 R's That is right form, right place, right time, right cost, following the right practices. When we say practice, I also mean ethical practice, besides sustainable practices. Now, the concept of physical internet began with when this technology started uh, growing leaps and bounds, with AI now in place, going at a rate of more than 20% per annum. This happened when we saw that how best the entire movement of the goods, materials, items, and information can be synchronized with no delay, no error, and no leakage of information. So basically, when the goods started moving from one part of the place to another, say cross border, the containers came into the picture. They were the units which included the smaller pieces and handling become easier. Now, even within the containers, the blocks or the cartons or the pellets or the boxes, they are getting introduced with technologies like IoT, wherein we can even find out, track, trace, identify the condition of the goods, like Mr. Khan was saying, whether we know whether the temperature and the humidity of the pizza inside the box is well within the limits that should reach the consumer at the right time. So, with this technologies being embedded to integrate all the silos that exist in the supply chain is the next challenge. How do we do that? In the process, globally, we have seen that this effort is on, continuously being thought about. Concepts of harmonization, wherein in global business or in any business, the goods are being identified with an harmonized system of number. We call it harmonized HS codes. There are harmonized processes. Then standardization, the way payments are made, they are standardized. The way documents for transportations like bill of lading in ship, airway bill in air, they have been standardized. And then things are trying to get simpler, at least efforts are being made. There is a trade facilitation agreement signed by all the members in the WTO to ensure that the processes are made simplified. Then the technologies like ICT, information communication technology, blockchain, they have improved the transparency, but still something is missing. Not even more than 2% of the total bill of lading out of 50 million bills of lading that are being issued every year have been transacted electronically. Customs do not transact any document bearing few cases of some certificates like phytosanitary certificate or certificate of origin across the border electronically. Within the countries, a lot of things are. That means there are silos of intranets that has developed over a period of time. Now the time has come to see that they get correlated, integrated, and we can collaborate. And in the process, we have seen over the last very recent few years how many supply chain disruptions took place across the world. The Suez Canal got blocked due to a ship accident. More than 400 ship days was lost. Then the Houthi attacks now have led to a longer route being followed. Then we had the wars that took place. Then COVID put everything on standstill. Then there are water level problems in Panama Canal. So when COVID came into place, people started saying offshoring is not the best solution. We should go for reshoring, coming back to our own place, or nearshoring. When the wars took place, people started saying that whether it is nearshoring, offshoring, or anything, we should be friendshoring. We should do everything in our friendly countries. When the Houthi attacks and the Suez Canal block took place, people started looking for alternate routes. But these are not getting happened because globally, as said that global, what are the global challenges? One of the topics that was mentioned by Mr. Gilestina. Globally, there is no combined document to move your goods from any one transport to another. Yes, there are certain documents like bill of lading which can be used for road transport, but at least one leg has to be through water. Similarly, there are road documents, there are rail documents, but there is no one single document for them. There was a convention held in 1980 in Geneva, but that failed because countries did not ratify it. There is no common platform which ensures interoperability, securedness to have a secure transfer of data like bill of lading, customs documents from one country to another country. Everything is there, as Mr. Sira said, there are private initiatives being done, lot of initiatives. But as I said, not more than 2% of the documents are getting transacted. So there are a lot of global challenges that needs to be made. And in coming back to the physical internet, wherein we need to identify what would be my best unit load. Say a carton, a box of chocolate. What should be the size of the box, which can be individually tracked? What should be the size of the box that there is no space wasted when it is put in a bigger box like a carton, and the cartons put on a pallet and pallets put inside a marine container, and each of them getting tracked at the point of time. And then, of course, technology is there. Robotics will sort it out. They will read the data. They'll find out which one has to go to which place. The RFID tags, the QR codes, and there are other technologies that are available which one can work it out. So now is the time to experiment and see for an individual supply chain of a particular matter, say a food supply chain, a coal supply chain, or a equipment supply chain, or electronic supply chain, or gems and jewelry, how this physical internet can be put into place and the lowest unit can be tracked, traced, and used to avoid wastage reduction in energy. These smallest units, they are now called the pi containers. Pi, physical internet containers. So now the concept of pi containers, pi hubs, pi locations are the next place to work on. And globally, there is a need for coming to an agreement on what is called a protocol. You know why internet became successful? When you transmit something through an internet, we don't worry about what is the machine in which it will be loaded. It will be an Apple iPhone, an Android desktop, or a Linux server. We don't worry about because the protocols have been created. TCP, transmission control protocol, internet protocol addresses. So now logistics and supply chain also require these protocols, which is above and over and above the simplification, standardization, harmonization, and transparency. Countries are working towards it. We at IFT were the knowledge partner for logistics. We came up with the 10 digital principles, high level principles, which the countries should adopt in order to ensure that there is no doubt in one's mind that the information will be leaked or it will be known to a third party, and there will be no digital divide. Poorer will suffer, richer will have a better place. So these are the points wherein we need to go forward by integrating the silos of developments that are taking place under the umbrella of sustainability, people, planet, and profit. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Now welcome Mr. Ritik Datta. Mr. Datta is the Chief Executive Officer of an international freight forwarding and logistics company, BG Somada and Sons Private Limited. He has completed his master's in international management and marketing from Northumbria University, Newcastle Business School. He has pursued a finance honors degree from St. Xavier's University, Kolkata. So, yeah, this side.
Good morning. Good morning, respected Additional Commissioner Sir, Principal Sir, all the dignitaries here, and to my fellow friends, students. Good morning. Can I hear good morning from everybody? Yeah. Please, let's wake up. It's just early morning. Uh, Looking at the dignitaries, I feel very pressurized. I don't have much to say because neither I have knowledge like these esteemed people, nor I have the experience. But I'll just share my own personal experience with all my friends here. After finishing my studies from St. Xavier's Calcutta, so I'm also from St. Xavier's Kolkata. I've done my BCom honors. So after doing my finishing my honors from Calcutta, I was also thinking about pursuing a job in an MNC big corporate company, and then अच्छा package मिल जाएगा 25-30 lakhs per year, and then I'll settle. But there was no kick in it. It was just a regular lifestyle. There was no excitement in it. So one day I decided to talk to my father. My father has been in this industry, logistics industry, for the last 40 years. I'm the third generation. Our company is 100-year-old. So I asked my father that what should I do? आइडिया तो है फाइनेंस का, कैन डू सीए या फिर फिनटेक फर्म में नौकरी कर सकते हैं आफ्टर डूइंग माय एमबीए. So he told me, "Do you have any idea about what we do?" I said, "Very little. Transport का आप करते होंगे." He's like, "Okay, come, I'll show you." So he took me to Haldia port. So those of you who don't know, under Calcutta SMP के port system, there are two proper ports, functioning ports. KDS, which is the Kolkata Dock Complex, which you have visited on, and then there is the Haldia port also, which is I feel a little more developed than Kolkata Dock. Why? Because of the infrastructure there, the quickness of customs there, even though it is handled from here only, but there is the ease of doing business there. A lot of cargo comes there, and that town is totally built on port. Everybody in that town, in that small town of Haldia, everybody is working in port, either in transport sector or in handling sector or in stevedoring sector. But they have built a community, they have built their own town, they have built their own life standard of living, lifestyle. They have their Inox there. मुझे भी पता नहीं था. अभी हल्दिया में there is an Inox, there is a Pizza Hut, KFC in Haldia. So this is a development of a town based out of a port. So I went there, I saw, it was like wow. Everybody, a small town came together and they became pretty big. There is definitely something to look forward towards it. I saw cargo being handled by big machines, ship se utar raha hai, getting loaded by dumpers, custom process ho raha hai. I saw that there is a way where I can contribute in the development, in the economical development of this country, because after reading and after having an idea, I found out that import and export has a huge impact on the economical growth of India. It is the mother of all industries. कुछ नहीं चल सकता without logistics. Nothing. Manufacturing sector, food sector, nothing can run without logistics. If one day logistics shut down हो जाए, India will stop. When COVID time was there, we all were sitting in our homes 2 साल. Friends, we who belong to the logistics sector, no, we went to office every day. We got emergency permission from the government of India. You have to go to your office, you have to go to port, you have to go to customs, and you have to clear goods, you have to export goods. Otherwise, India will come to a standstill. इससे बड़ा किसमें मिल सकता है? So I was like, wow. I went to UK. I pursued international management and marketing because I was from a finance background. So I had to have some idea about how to market my ideas, my business, how to manage it, what is the hierarchical structure. Finished it, came back. This is my 5th year running. We are the biggest logistics company in East India. We not only handle goods, not only transfer goods, we own ships, we have our fleet. We have started operating in the gift city. All of you must be aware about the gift city, which is being developed in Gujarat, which is a special economic zone. So we are operating there. We are trying to be big. We are not saying कि हमको इंडिया को अलग जगह लेके जाना है. बहुत बड़े बड़े कंपनीज है. There's Adani Ports and Logistics. There is Jindal Steels. Everybody. We are a very small company compared to them. We are trying to just develop ourselves. Along with that, we are trying to develop the eastern part of this country also. And we are very hopeful that logistics one day will get an industry status, and there is a huge scope of development for you guys to come and join the logistics sector, because at the end of the day आप लोग को सबको अच्छे packages चाहिए. There's a good opportunity. Just remember, what will you bring to the table? Just have this concept in mind, how, what value you can add. So understand logistics. Let's not go into these integrities कि बहुत tough words आते हैं इसमें. Just इसको easy करते हैं, इसको समझते हैं. What is supply chain management? कैसे ये function होता है? इसको कैसे better कर सकते हैं? And there is a huge scope in it. Thank you very much. Later on, we can discuss about other things in the panel discussion. Looking forward to all of you. Thank you.
अभिनंदन माइक अभिनंदन अब ऑन ही था.
Thank you, sir. Now we welcome Mr. Srinivas Marela, the Director of Procam Group. He boasts over 35 years of extensive experience in supply chain management across diverse industries and global projects. He has been in key roles in organizations in India, UAE, and Nigeria before he assumed the position of Director in Procam Group. In line with Procam Group's objective of delivering innovation and commitment, he has recently led a green supply chain initiative via the introduction of electric vehicles in the first mile delivery operations of an MNC, and thereby contributing to the reduction of carbon footprint, and is also actively working on many such initiatives. Sir, I request you to say a few words.
Good morning. Thanks a lot to the management of Army Institute of Management Kolkata for having me. Yeah. Bulk of you I see are okay. Students here, just like you, facing your principal or facing your professor is a bit of an overall experience. I'm having the same trouble with Dr. Dipankar here. He has been my professor and a guru who first exposed me to the international trade and logistics subject answers from the academic perspective. I was a student at the IIFT 13 years back, and it's been an honor to meet you, sir, again today. Thank you so much for everything you have done. Well, we will go through the day, we go through various motions in terms of discussing all these concepts. Like we spoke about sustainability, we spoke about digitalization, then we spoke about supply chain, and we spoke about driving everything together. My one submission to all of you, without getting too deep into these numbers, look at this as one opportunity, and I'll tell you the opportunity. Every report in the industry cites that the logistics cost in India is approximately 12 to 14% of the GDP. There lies the opportunity. Now, why is it so high? The impact of that, we spoke about the people, the planet, and the profits part. Come to the planet itself. There is a huge negative impact on the planet. And that is where all these buzzwords of sustainability and all these things have started coming up, which has now become the mantra for us in every decision that we take and in every aspect that we practice in our day-to-day lives. Logistics too. You will be coming more and more across these things, but with this opportunity, you will need to look into more and more of digitization. How do we do it? Professor Sinha was talking about silo operations. That's the biggest reality, and that is perhaps the chief contributor to this kind of a high cost of logistics in the country. It directly translates to the higher cost of the products that you are buying. Therefore, there is also this need to ensure that these costs are kept under control. And through such initiatives, we save ourselves and give a better longevity to our own lives. Presently, a lot of companies also who are getting into this kind of a thought process are again operating in silos in the sense that they do a local optimization for their own operation, which is fine. Like drops of water make a mighty ocean, so that's absolutely fine. But a beginning has been made. So the beginning has been made, and in the right earnest. Most interesting aspect and which and where I find there is a huge opportunity for all of you. Back in our days, logistics was never as a subject taught to us in any school or anywhere. We learned it from our seniors. Now, the third generation guy here says that, he told his dad, "Aap kuch to karte honge." So that was where we were all going through. We went out, we learned these things, and today it's nice to see that it has become a part of the curriculum, and all of you guys are coming up with such good, what I would say, but insights into this particular subject. We go along the day, we will also take you through a couple of case studies so that you understand the practical application of whatever has been taught all along, or discussed all along, not taught anymore. So, thank you so much for this opportunity once again, and let's get it and engage in interactive session. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Dr. P.K. Das, professor from the Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, Kolkata, has kindly agreed to be the moderator for the panel discussion session. Dr. Das is a PhD in nonlinear statistical models from the Indian Agricultural Statistics Research Institute. He served IR Financial Consultants Limited and the Indian Council of Agricultural Research as head of the research division and senior scientist. Professor Das has provided analytics consultancy to organizations like IOCL and GEM. He delivers guest lectures on big data analytics, machine learning, and artificial intelligence to prestigious institutions including the Indian Naval Academy and ICAI. May I request Dr. P.K. Das to kindly grace the stage with his presence and take us through the rest of the event.
Very good morning to all. At the outset, I thank our Institute of Management for inviting me and having me here. Now, today's program's tone was set by Professor Kubishev, and subsequently it was enlarged. Rather, the depth and breadth of the whole day was very precisely explained by Mr. Nilesh. I also find that Subsequently, very precisely, Mr. Khan and my colleague Dipankar Sinha, they also set the discussion tone, what could be in this particular panel discussion. And throughout the day, whatever deliberation we do have, Mr. Srinivasan also explained that in which direction perhaps we can go. And my young panelist, Mr. Datta, he in fact expressed very interesting thing, which perhaps many people would think that is it this logistics and supply chain only transportation? And he very nicely elaborated that it is much beyond transportation and it has many things to have. Now, before we start the panel discussion, I would like to share one very wild thing, and it's very hilarious kind of thing. So, if you are feeling sleepy, please listen to that. Whenever I participate in digital transformation, I share this particular thing. It is like this. My wife wearing a headband, round, aesthetically looking headband, because females should not wear anything which doesn't look nice. So calls son, who is living in the other part of the globe, and asks, "Did you receive your father? I just emailed him." And before he could even receive the call or she could complete the sentence, she receives the feedback. Yes, I received him, not only received, I made it in the human form. So what happened? My wife transformed me to a package which can be attached to email and sent to the US. And in the US, my son received that package and again retransformed him to me into human form. Oh my God. So, well, this is what to me is the ultimate digital transformation. And well, we do not know when this could happen, but then this is perhaps the wild thought that I can share when we start any digital transformation discussion. Well, with this, now we'll try to have some structured discussion. So the drivers for sustainable logistics and supply chain, we'll discuss. There are many drivers. However, I will start with my, I don't have any bias, but maybe left hand side. So, and I'll be calling all the panelists by name. Please excuse me. And for that, so I will start with Nilesh, and I will request him to start with the, though he has started with the different drivers for sustainable supply chain. I would again request him that please give the details of each one, which will enable. Now if we require to prioritize that, yes, I have identified 5 different drivers. Now it is not possible to maybe take care of all the drivers, and in some particular situation may not be even required. But how we can prioritize this, I would request you to start with that, identifying the drivers and how to prioritize if it is required in any context. And in the first round, we can have maybe 3 to 4 minutes. And in the second round, we'll have the human machine interface or the human and process interface, that discussion which Mr. Abhishek outlined. But in the first place, maybe we can have the generic discussion. Over to you, Mr. Nilesh.
While I have covered widely in terms of the sustainability means and how we are applying it, I'll just give a practical cases to just give the application of these drivers, how we are applying it. So, especially all asset-owned companies who are having a fleet of equipment, there we have got the responsibility to see that how we are optimizing the uses of fuel. And there are a lot of technology available, which is helping you to give an alert in terms of how you're optimizing. This is something is a big challenge still. On the sustainability part, we have built up a ESG framework where we have kept the application and uses of fuel as a one of the first key criteria to see this is that how we can utilize the technology and also see that how we damages as less as possible by implementing the right set of technologies. To me, the driver which we are looking it up is that how in the transportation industry as such, we look it up the application and uses of fuel. The shipping line have been the driving factor here, where they are getting into the hydrogen gases as a fuel for them. There are a lot of other tools are available, but on the ground right now in India, all we have is that we have to go with the fossil fuel only, and we have an option right now to optimize is that how we can optimize. And this technology is giving us an alert. It is helping us in understanding the driving behavior, and therefore we are able to find out is that how we can optimize. So right now we are at the very early stage of executing the plan on the sustainability side, but we are making substantial progress. Of course, the electric vehicle and other part we will take it up, but as a largely we are seeing it, the industry is also moving it up in terms of utilizing the technology available or optimizing the use of fuel.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, may I request Professor Sinha? Now, Professor Sinha played a crucial role in shaping India's national logistics policy. So, I would request Professor Sinha to highlight the key aspects of national logistics policy and how that policy is going to empower the industry in terms of sustainability and adoption of new technology. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Um, as regards the national logistics policy is concerned, there have been 4 pillars of this particular policy, and all these the pillars they revolve around this sustainability. That means sustainability is not only about using the green fuel; it is also about reducing the waste. And when you talk of reducing the waste, that means you are either overproducing, that's also a waste, or you are keeping material in inventory, that's also a waste, or you are transporting goods, but then these transportation routes are not optimal, so there is a waste. So to improve the efficiency, productivity, and reduce the consumption of energy, water, reduce the emission levels, the pollutants, and facilitate the process. That means, as I was saying in my initial lecture, that we need to simplify and standardize the processes so that the ease of doing business as well as the overall target of bringing down the cost. Like Mr. Srinivas said, that the cost is an important aspect. The cumbersome process leads to higher cost. So how the cost can be reduced, and in this direction, all the ministries of the country, line ministries we call it, shipping, road, aviation, uh, inland waterways, railways, they are all coming together under the Gati Shakti platform. And the binding factor for global logistics is with the customs, because they play a very vital role. They are the gatekeepers of the country for entry and exit of the goods. Nothing can enter this country without anyone's permission, whether it is vehicle, whether it is a ship, whether it is a aircraft, whether it is a goods, whether it is virus. Even there are port health organizations who check people in the airport that they're having some disease or not, they can be quarantined, and whether it is food material, excepted I think migratory birds, all are regulated in the country, and their regulations sometimes are treated as hindrance and barriers to business. So simplifying the regulations, making it transparent, these were the objectives of the National Logistics Policy as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sinha. Now, before I request Mr. Khan to speak on this, in the whole logistics and supply chain, whenever we discuss any case study in this regard, we find that people have certain challenges with respect to customs clearance. So we have the expert from the customs. We know that in last several years there has been changes and changes for better, and our customs also made several changes. However, still perhaps there are challenges which we need to address. So I would request Mr. Khan to discuss this particular aspect, that what are the challenges still we have and how we can address those challenges with respect to custom clearance.
Morning all. We start from where Mr. Sinha left, that regulatory bodies. They pose, in a sense, some hindrance to the stakeholders who are there. At the same time, I'll tell that over a span of years, the mandate is, which has been completely spelled out by our Honorable Prime Minister about that we want maximum governance with minimum government. So what over a span of time we have done is that we have got many steps involved in the process of clearances. There are steps like RMS, which is like risk management system of clearance. Steps which involves faceless assessment, wherein we will not interact with the concerned person when the assessment comes, when the goods are coming. Steps like APIS, like many of you who would have landed from international terminal would have felt that no one would have stopped you. It is because the profiling is remote. So from all the data which we capture for the passengers which are traveling abroad and coming back, from the frequency and the profile, we don't kind of create, what do you say, unpleasant experience for genuine passenger. But having said that, as Mr. Sinha has told and as others will also agree, that any form of clearance involves multiple stakeholders. It is not only customs, it is also participating government agencies like plant quarantine, animal quarantine, FSI. So maybe people do have an experience which is not very good when it comes to kind of smooth clearances of some of the commodities. Because some of these commodities actually get referred to the participating government agencies. So it may so happen. And also the experience of the port also varies from port to port. Like few stakeholders who are into private business can manage their human resource better, will give a better experience. Vis-a-vis those ports which are not able to manage their human resource properly, and also the regulations which are there outside the port, like there are traffic regulations, there are regulations about labor. All those will play their active role in customs clearances. So though it has been broadly termed as customs clearances and delayed customs clearances, but many a times it is also that participating agencies are not that well equipped as other equipped partner. I'll not say that they are not equipped. Because say for example, if I have a system which I have made completely robust and is very, very helpful for the stakeholder, but if my partner is not living up to the expectation, so in that form, ultimately the end result will not be that pleasant. But collectively, we are working to kind of resolve these issues, and at times, very proactive measures are being taken. Like one thing which I can tell that there is something called advanced authorization and EPCG clearances. So we have this circular where a couple of ports are notified for exports. So when we joined this commissionerate and kind of we took a review of the things that clearance is happening from Jaigaon, Panitanki, all these clearances, people used to submit their files to Calcutta and then seek permissions from the commissioner. Trade never interested us for getting those ports notified. Rather, proactively, we took those ports and we notified them that please don't send these files to Calcutta. आप वहीं से कर लीजिए जो अपना काम करना चाह रहे हैं. So we need active trade also to make active customs and other processes more accountable and responsible. The more trade argues, the more trade demands, government will kind of concede to the legitimate demands. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. Now, before I ask Mr. Srinivas to speak on this particular topic, we see that so far we have been discussing less on the risk management aspect of logistics and supply chain. I would request you to speak on this and what are the possible risks and how we can mitigate those risks in logistics and supply chain. Thank you.
It's a very vast subject. Where is the because the entire supply chain itself is broken into very small components, and each one carries its own inherent risks created by itself and then external factors also. So mitigation plans, according to me, have to be drawn up directly at that level. Now we take port itself as a case study. When we talk about exports, the impact is at every stage, from the entry into the port gates, where you have got certain permissions, therefore there is a lead time. To even reach the port gate, there is the roads leading up to that are really not, I would say, have not been made really taken into account the expected traffic flows in that direction. Consequently, there are huge traffic jams. When I simply give you the example of JNPT, we do know many times we send the vehicles a couple of days in advance, and there is a cost. The reason nobody knows, शायद रोकना पड़ेगा, शायद traffic jam हो जाएगा. But these have all become inherent assumptions, I would say. And when you go there and see the vehicles waiting there, you know that the assumption also that there is a cost. These are the risks where the supply chain or the lead times in the supply chain are potentially increasing, and every day is a costly affair. So this is one part. The other part is the documentation or lack of clarity of it. Come to customs, experience had been that the interpretation of a particular rule right at the examiner level can also really impact in case the CHA is not equally knowledgeable or perhaps more knowledgeable. See, that is where the risk factor comes in. Your paperwork, because you have somehow not educated your shipper, and at the end of the day, despite things being faceless or whatever, there is a level of physical activity that happens, and there the risk factor again comes. So in this way, one needs to understand, one needs to estimate what exactly are the potential part where these kind of time delays, if I could say, as one of the risks contribute, because everything else boils down to a cost ultimately. So do your own value stream mapping of your entire chain, and you understand what are the lag times that are potentially staring at you, what are the lead times you can try to achieve by virtue of, let's say, a digitization process somewhere in your entire system, which can help you and get knowledge of the subject, and that is where the risk can be better managed, mitigated.
Thank you, Mr. Srinivas, for giving a brief idea about the risk and its mitigation. Now I'll move on to Ritik. Ritik, I would ask you to explain something different, not what perhaps all are expecting. The young students who are interested to make their career in the area of logistics and supply chain. Some are interested in operations, and within operations, maybe they are interested in logistics, supply chain management, etc. So what are the things they should look into so as to make their career sustainable? So I request you to speak on this at the first round.
Basically, sir asked me like, how are you going to make your career sustainable? I get your point, sir. The I feel as a youngster in this industry, or as someone who has no knowledge in this industry, I feel the only thing you all can do is to get something new, bring something new. Logistics industry has become a little stagnant over the years. It's the same process going again and again. It's development भी हो रहा है, expansion भी हो रहा है. तो like in certain sector, for example, sir is aware, sir के sector में, like in the sector where sir works, वहाँ पे development is happening there. There's Expressway, another company who is also doing development with their innovations in software and all. But transport, ships, stevedoring, handling, CHA, इन सब से थोड़ा अलग कुछ करना पड़ेगा. For example, like Amazon, they have taken over at least 7 warehouses around this region and making it automated, auto-generated, getting robotics into it, making it refer facilities, providing refer facilities like they can, so that they can handle cargo which requires minimum of temperature, minus degrees and all. So basically, infrastructure development. You have to think about tomorrow. You cannot be like government infrastructure कर देगी और import तो आता ही रहेगा और export तो होता ही रहेगा और cargo तो आते जाते रहेंगे, हम लोग तो बना लेंगे अपनी जगह. नहीं होगा. There is a lot of competition in this industry. Trust me, when I joined this industry, I also felt कि थोड़ा तो operated हो, operation में मतलब operated रहेगा. They have built a legacy. उसी function में चलेगा. I just might need to understand it and manage it and do little communications here and there. No. वैसे चलता एक साल भी we won't be able to sustain. The logistics sector is changing every day. The impact of digitalization is huge in this sector. It is integrating each and every department together so that operations can be run in a very smooth manner. So every day something new is coming up in the field of infrastructure, in the field of अगर आप बोलो transport sector में there were पहले trailers, then the trailers were developed. Now there is EV trailers. In the CHA sector, पहले people used to write bill of entries with their hand. Now they are doing it via software, where each and every document is directly saved in the iCloud via eSanchit system. Every CHA has their own. We are also a CHA company. We have our own inbuilt software which is integrated with the IceGate software, which is the custom software, so that there is an integration of data. Both data can be fetched easily. Work does not increase. ये हुआ CHA का factor. Again, stevedoring में पहले क्या होता था? Ship used to come, people used to physically unload them, load them in a vehicle, and then transport it. Abhi, now I work in two places. I would like to tell you. There's a port called Paradip Port in Orissa. I'm sure many of you are aware. They have a mechanical berth, a berth where there is not a single human being. Everything is done mechanical. Ship is coming to the berth. The berth is attaching itself to the ship. It is unloading the coal or other bulk items or whatever item from the ship via machines which are highly developed in technology. It is coming directly to the berth, getting loaded in the wagons, the rake wagons, and getting transported. Not a single human being. And lakh tons are happening. So this is again a new, something new which is coming up in stevedoring. So, sir, for me, the answer is very simple. Every day you have to think something new. Today's process cannot be happening tomorrow also. Tomorrow some change will come. So be prepared. Be prepared for tomorrow. Be prepared to educate yourself. Learn as much as possible. Understand from people. Understand their views, ideas. Think and then use them and in your company so that you can be sustainable tomorrow also. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ritik, for your very in-depth understanding and explaining the things to the students, so the students can also understand this, that what they should do for their career development in this particular area. Now we have the second round, and in the second round, let us discuss that when it is the question of interfacing the human resources, human behavior, and that has to be there. Now, when we do this, when we have the technology with us, we have IoT, sensors, IoT devices, we have robots, we have robotics, we have cloud computing, we have AI, we have ML, we have big data analytics, we have blockchain, everything is in place. Despite that, it is the human mind that will play a crucial role. So how this human machine interface, or say human process interface, will play a role in the sustainable development of the logistics and supply chain sector? Nilesh, please. And my question will remain same to all the panelists, and you can give your view and summarize the thing. And please don't take more than 2 minutes, because we have to finish around 12:15, so that next program can start in time. Thank you.
Uh, this is something. This question is a very general question. And, we have been addressing these questions. Just me for the last 6 years, and I've seen even my colleagues also have been addressing this. So, in the bottom of this question, what remains is the skill gap. The second is intent or the resources available for the knowledge enhancement. Then the requirement of skill versus availability of skill. And then the machine part comes up. That machine comes out where reputation, redundancy is actually happening. So we need to look it up in a little broader aspect of this question. Still, this industry lacks trained drivers to start with, trained professional who understand the processes, trained resources who, like the interpretation issues what Mr. Khan was also talking and Mr. Srinivas also spoke about, is that are we all onto the same page of understanding what is the procedure laid down? So probably why people are getting into the machine or the automation is that this particular gap is getting filled through partly with the automation. But how as a professional, I look it up is that of course the machine will have its own role in the business, and this role of the machine needs to be seen in terms of increasing the efficiency of a human, instead of seeing this the applications of the machines to be use it to the maximum to achieve of one specific activities. Here it's like when we study the theory of constraint, it should not happen that in a chain the machine becomes so powerful and becomes so powerful chain that the human becomes the weakest part of the chain. And then if this is situation comes in, the end point or end delivery will not take place. So it's a balance which is required. A holistic view of application of machine is required. Holistic view of the macro environment where we work. It's like here, when we have to balance with people, the profit and the planet, we have got abundant of people. Whereas the countries where having anything is just like less, they have to make their plans differently on their. But what is bottom line remains is here. Machine will play its role. people will always have their importance, and out of all this, sustainability will be required to ensure this is that we live in the right set of plans.
Okay, thank you. Over to you, Professor Dipankar.
I have only one simple suggestion here that this artificial intelligence or automation, they are all driven by algorithms. And these algorithms are the machine learning algorithms. Either they give one-time results or they continuously give a result, then check it out with the real fact, and then they update themselves, and that is how the intelligence is built. So here there is a problem of errors. No model is free from error, right? No model is 100% proof. And there can be two sets of error. One set is called type 1 error, in which we try to give a result which we should not have given, and that has led to a disaster. And then there is a type 2 error, wherein we missed out something which is the best solution due to the fault in the algorithm. So type 1 error and type 2 errors are described in analytics as specificity and sensitivity values. So whenever you run any analytics, please do also ask what is the specificity and the sensitivity values, which will indicate in terms of to what percentage extent that the results are correct. Say, for example, your percentage of correctness is 99%. The type 1 error is 99 is a 1% error. Now, this 1% will vary. The sensitivity of the 1% will vary from problem to problem. Say, for example, if I am diagnosing a cancer patient with 1% error, that 1% can lead to a very fatal. So, in case of robotics, the 1% can lead to accidents, the drones dropping the material in a wrong place, because they are all automated. So, whenever we use these techniques of business analytics, we should keep in mind the metric sensitivity and specificity to understand the extent of error and to what extent the errors are allowable in this world of automation. That is the role of human beings for a man-machine integrated system.
Thank you, Professor Dipankar. Now, Mr. Khan, you have been dealing with human interface is always part of your processes. Now, how do you see the same thing, man-machine interface, in this area of logistics and supply chain?
So, like from government perspective, I can tell that any intervention which we are doing for man and machine interaction, it is like every positive implementation of technology is going to redefine the job of the officer who's posted there. So how do I say that? It's like initially it was like officers were assessing the cargo. We delegated the job to the concerned stakeholders. We brought in the era of self-assessment. Okay, we will not assess, no, you only take the responsibility of assessing. The moment we brought that, what now we are kind of reviewing is that though the large part of the job which otherwise officers were doing is now delegated to the responsible citizens or the importers or the exporters who are there. We are in process of giving them further more responsibility in doing other processes also. Wherein we feel like, just for example, if someone has exported goods which are duty paid goods, refund will be automated and that will be credited back to the kind of concerned entity which is there. But what we have always felt is that the trading community, as because humans are there, humans are as complex as they can be. Whenever we bring something new for the benefit of the trade, there are always some set of people who are ready to misuse it. So, algorithms, as Mr. Sinha has told, that they even 1% of the error, it fails to give the intent of the whole scheme which brings into place. We try to bring it with a good intention. When we review it, we find that okay, there are a couple of stakeholders, there are a couple of players who have misused it. So then we again modulate it. So it is always cat and mouse game. At airports also, when we see that We review the profile of the passengers and all. Once they have understood that, okay, we are reviewing it up to this point, they will also up their game. So we also have to up our game. So systems for us is kind of a very dynamic process. We cannot rely on one system which is like kind of 20 years old and is not being reviewed. We will have to keep reviewing it as per the demand of the trade, as per the demand of the environment, as per the ecosystem it generates. Like for example, Calcutta may have a good ecosystem for the jewelry business. Delhi may have good ecosystem for courier business. Bangalore may have good ecosystem for IT business. So those patches, those islands, we are working upon kind of making it more and more better, more and more streamlined. And as the commitment goes, we have to delegate as much as possible to the responsible stakeholders only. Please don't come to government offices. If you are able to save time, nation will naturally grow.
Very nice, very nice. Thank you. Now, Mr. Srinivas, I would request you to express your thought on this man-machine interface aspect of logistics and supply chain.
The artificial intelligence part of it has itself been created by the human intelligence. Anytime that coming and taking over my thought process or my intelligence is just simply not going to happen. What can be done? I feel is the like we spoke earlier about ease of doing the business. So these are all tools that will help you understand your own markets, understand your own organizations, understand your own work patterns, the industry, everything. So that there is a very simplified way today to know gather such information, develop further intelligence around that, and using tools like predictive analytics and all that. I jump to your previous question in terms of risk management. I think that can be managed pretty well, and that is where comes in a lot of cost savings to the industry, a lot of contribution to speeding up things without really compromising on cost, and a very effective decision making process even at an organization level. So this is my take on the man machine interface, where work as friends, nothing like it.
Thank you, Mr. Srinivas. Now, to Ritik, again, a little bit twist to the question is that the customer's expectation is changing day by day, and they are expecting more and more. So, how to handle this customer's expectation in this current era? What is your view, please?
We all know in the sector clients के expectations का कोई limit नहीं होता है और this is true for all sectors, like in every industrial sector, be it manufacturing, hospitality, logistics, clients have a lot of expectations from you. Now जो normal procedure है कि honesty, efficiency, वो सब तो is important, but what I felt is you have to have a relationship with your client. You have to talk to your client. You have to know how to say no to your client. कि ये होगा नहीं और ये हो सकता है. Just for the sake of getting business, we run behind our clients like anything. कि sir कर देंगे, we'll do it, we'll do this for you, we'll get the moon, the stars, everything for you. We just need to say, we need to start saying no to clients. आज के दिन पे all the major players, for example Adani, Ambani's, they are also in service sector. But when you see how they provide service to the people, you feel like I want to be there. Not because of the money they earn, but the way they run their business. It's like you have to understand the process. You have to explain the things to the process, things to the client. You have to give him or her a reality check. Ki where are we right now? What can I give you? I will give my everything for you because I am, as a customs broker, I am your customs lawyer. So I'll give my best to serve you. But उसका भी एक लिमिट होगा. I want the one major thing, because additional commissioner sir is here. One of the expectations of clients come कि customs का जो भी rule है CHA will manage it. नहीं, CHA will not manage it. That is the thing. If you customs or any other government body, whatever rule has been made, that is made for the benefit of our clients. There is a reason why India has climbed to 63 position from 142 in ease of doing business. That is because of these policies, rules, regulations. We have to give our clients proper service, but be in the limits of these rules and regulations. Then the clients will also be beneficial.
Thank you very much. Now we have 3-4 minutes time. So now it is question answer session. So from the audience, you are now invited to ask your question. So is there any question? Yes, please. Could you please provide a microphone to her?
Hello everyone. This is Dr. Bongkasu from Heritage Business School. I have a question to the panel members. Like, there is no doubt that digital transformation has brought efficiency to the whole system, right? Mr. Riddhi was talking about mechanical birth, which doesn't need any human intervention. So definitely there is no doubt that it will bring economic efficiency to the whole system. But my question is, how can companies balance the need for efficiency gain through digitalization with the preservation of jobs and human-centric approach in the entire supply chain?
Any particular panelist to address your question or anyone?
Anyone can answer.
Okay, then I'd request Dr. Sinha to address this question, efficiency question.
See, this question has been raised since the Industrial Revolution happened in the 18th century. You know, they said if the industries are mechanized, then people will lose their jobs. So that's not the point. The life has to go on, and technology and areas of automation will increase leaps and bounds. What we need to do is that we take proactive actions. Proactive actions to ensure that what if tomorrow this happens, and then what do we do with the human resource? So how the human resource has to be retained, they have to be redeployed, and they have to be reworked. Now, there has been a lot of instances of job loss during COVID times because production came down and people were just thrown away without any notice. And there has been a lot of cases that people even recruited 3 months before and got retrenched. So we were also surprised that how come companies they recruit people not even knowing what is going to happen 3 months after? Is it so uncertain that I don't even know 3 months from now? I may not know what is 3 years from now. So therefore, it is very important the companies should mature in their, there is something called PCMA model, those who are in HR will know, people capability maturity model, which says that we should be able to estimate the workforce requirement. And that is failing badly. Maybe we use some AI to estimate and not take people and throw them out. When we estimate, we take a 360-degree approach in terms of what are the technology development, what skill needs to be changed, what is the inventory of the current people that we are having, what skills they have, whether they can cope up with them. If they don't, whether they can be redeployed, retrained. If not, then they can be said goodbye, but with compensation in terms of alternative training as well as fund. We have provident fund, we have pensions. Why can't we have retrenchment pensions as well? Thank you.
Sir, can I have a question here? As we understand that a robot can replace the jobs of 1,000 people, 1,000 workers. So if robotics comes, it has already come into picture in many of the sectors. So in that case, 1,000 jobs, 1,000 people will not be able to retain the jobs, right? Few of them will be losing their jobs. So what will happen to them in that case? They're, yeah.
I think Riddhi would like to.
So, may I answer this question to you, ma'am? Ma'am, jobs जाएंगी, jobs will go. Let's face the reality. People will lose jobs. If when I was talking about mechanical work, एक birth में 200-300 लोग काम करते हैं, तो jobs तो जाएंगी, मैम. What is the alternative? This is a concern for companies like us also, because we don't want to get rid of our employees also. We try to keep them as long as possible, cutting our profits. What is the solution? The solution is, ma'am, the governments need to take initiatives to get them skilled. In every port, in every ICD, in every dry dock, there are machines getting utilized today. These people need to know how to use these machines. They do not need to be graduates. They do not need to learn English. They do not need to go to schools, colleges. No. लेबर पहले भी पोर्ट्स में काम करते थे, उनको स्किल बनाते थे गवर्नमेंट्स. कोई पहले जैसे होता था, यूनियन आके सिखाते थे हाउ अ मशीन ऑपरेट्स, how things can be done, how this machine needs to be utilized, how this machine needs to be maintained. Ye government has to take initiatives, go to the people, the low income level people I'm talking about. You have to who are 15,000 in a month. Their average salary is 50 to 20,000. What people you're talking about, their average salary is this. You have to give them skilled training from the government, how to operate machines, how to operate dumpers, how to operate trucks, how to operate these trailers, which are coming new trailers, developed trailers day by day. और कोई solution नहीं है. If we think today that via AI मॉड्यूल या फिर सॉफ्टवेयर या डिजिटलाइजेशन से ही लोगों का नौकरी लेके आएंगे, वो कैसे? जिससे लोगों का नौकरी जा रहा है उससे आप लाएंगे कैसे? तो आपको लोगों को स्किल करना पड़ेगा और कोई सोल्यूशन नहीं है मैडम. आज कस्टम्स में भी इनिशियली बिफोर ड्यूरिंग माय ग्रैंडफादर्स टाइम इन कस्टम्स it was not necessary for a person to be educated. झोला लेके चल देता था, लिख के झोला लेके चल देता था. Now every person in my CB division consists of around 90 people. Everybody knows how to operate a laptop. Everybody has not passed, madam, class 12. There are many employees in my office who has not passed class 12, but they know how to operate a laptop. Skills.
Okay. Thank you, Riddhik. So new skill set development, new opportunities we have to harness, and the balancing approach perhaps we have to follow. With this, I take this opportunity to conclude this panel discussion, and thank you all the panelists.
Thank you very much, sir. It was indeed a very exciting and enlightening session for all of us. We understand that the National Logistics Policy aims to accelerate the country's growth by synchronizing the actions of various agencies and automating the processes, thereby minimizing human intervention and also maximizing technology driven processes. Now, I would like to request our principal, sir, Dr. Abhishek Kumar, to kindly come up on the stage and felicitate our esteemed guests. Mr. Sheikh Hamid Khan, our guest of honor. Dr. Dipankar Sinha, Professor IIST. Mr. Ritik Datta, CEO BGS Group. Mr. Srinivas Marela, Director Procam Group. Professor P.K. Das, our moderator of this session. Thank you, sir.
Before we proceed for the next event, may I request a complete Sanchalan team to please come up on stage for a group photo. May I also request the speakers of the afternoon session, Mr. Partha Bhattacharya and Mr. Jaidev Sen Gupta, to please join us on stage. Our Principal Sir, Registrar Sir, Retired Colonel M.K. Verma, our Academic Coordinator, Madam Dr. Malini Mazumdar, and our mentors, Professor Pratik Basu Sir and Anindya Saha Sir. Please come up on the stage. Taking the program forward, now it's time for the inauguration of Procam Centre of Excellence and poster presentation, followed by lunch.